Hey, long time no see, man. How are you? Good. Good. I guess we'll get started in a couple minutes. Good to see you. Wow, some old familiar faces here. Yeah, guys, pile right up. Make yourselves comfortable. Are you going live?
No.
Get right up
We
there.
can.
You can be my guest. We're no stranger. Awesome. Sherry, what's your... Yeah, she knows where the bread's buttered. What time is it? 59. Good for you guys. Oh, no, right. Break. A bottle of water. Perfect.
I thought you were going to say a bottle of wine.
Bottle of wine.
Tray of pizza, bottle of wine.
Bottle of wine. Perhaps a bottle of rosé instead, right? Oh. What about you, young lady? No. Oh, who saw that? Who saw that? That was good. She went down for the one, switching to. Good for you. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and get started with our giraffe talk today. Before we jump into it, we always like to kind of figure out who's from where and first-timers and whatnot. So first things first, who's here for the first time today? Awesome. Thank you for joining us. Very good. Who is here from outside of the country today? Awesome. Very good. Who is here from outside of New York? Excellent. Who's here from New York? Good. Who's here from Broome County? All right. Thanks for being here, guys. All right. So that being said, the way our giraffe talk is going to go today, we're going to really touch on a little bit of conservation in the beginning and life in the wild for them. Then we're going to talk about the anatomy of our giraffes. We're going to work our way from the top all the way down to the bottom. After that, we're going to talk giraffe love, then baby talk, because one comes before the other. And then we'll end it up with a quick Q&A session. You have questions, we have answers, and we might give them to you. All right? So that being said, depending on who you talk to, whatever scientist is doing the study, there is debate of how many subspecies of giraffes there are, whether it's 4, whether it's 5, whether it's 7. Right now, scientists are really trying to work to get them down and isolated into lower numbers so we can actually provide them protections in the wild. Right now, your giraffes are not actually technically an endangered species. They're a near-threatened species. Regardless of what the IUCN lists them, there is other statuses out there. So right now, they're not falling under the protections like we're going to see for orangutans and gorillas and rhinos and animals like that. And it's kind of unfortunate because giraffe populations are dwindling. Sorry. All right. Every 100 words, he gets one. All right, very good. So some of you probably already know the giraffe population. We have lost like 30 to 40% of it in the past 20, 30, 40 years. It's an exponential decline. We actually have to start changing our ways to provide sustainable environments for them, but also curb our behaviors. What is hurting giraffes in the wild? It's agriculture, so that's human encroachment. We're taking away natural environment, but it's also poaching, all right? Yes, giraffes are used for bushmeat, but there's other things as well. Of course, there is trophy hunting, but also natives use their tails for rituals. So there's a lot of factors that are impacting the wild populations of our giraffes. Now, the giraffes we have here are reticulated giraffes. Good job. Now, other ones you might see in captive management programs or most popular would be also your Rothschilds and your Maasai. Very good. So those are the three most really popular, especially in U.S. collections, all right? So now the reticulated giraffes. Behind me today, we have our big guy, our mature bull, and his name is?
Oliver.
Very good. And that beautiful, stoic new girlfriend of his, that is his girlfriend? Johari. Very good. Now, Johari has been with us for less than a year, recently moved up to Giraffe Barn 1 here, has fallen hopefully in love with Oliver in another 15, 16, 17, 18 months. Just kidding, 15 months. Maybe we'll have another giraffe calf. We will see. Now, let's jump into the anatomy of our giraffes. First things first, those things on top of their heads, those are called?
Ossicones.
5, 3, 4 years ago, people didn't know what they were. We're glad we're educating you. It is ossicones. So those ossicones are horn-like structures up on top of the head. Now when a baby giraffe is born, they're very small and actually soft cartilage that lays flat against the head. As they grow, they stand up, they start to grow taller, stronger, and thicker, and become a bone-like structure that is actually fused to the skull. Now what do they use these ossicones for? Well, it depends on the sex of the animal. So our males, Oliver, heads up. Oliver, heads up. Thank you. All right. So Oliver, you're going to notice his ossicones are much larger than Johari's. Now our males use them for fights of dominance, and what that's actually called is necking behavior. Now it's not the necking behavior you're thinking about, all right? It's actually a very violent exchange between two bulls that are fighting for the attention of a female. What will happen is our males will violently swing their necks and their heads into one another, striking each other with those ossicones in the face, the neck, the chest, and the legs. Now, as violent of an exchange as this is, they're not doing it to truly hurt one another. It's really just to bruise one another's egos. The victor gets to move on, breed with the female. The loser moves on, hopefully to find another female that is receptive to him, and that big guy doesn't find him first, all right? So now the female's ossicones are much smaller, okay? They're a little more muted. What are they really using them for? Well, once in a while, Johari will neck Oliver to tell her to leave me alone, all right? But really, they're using their ossicones to simply scratch itches and things like that. Now, moving down a little bit, we're going to talk about that tongue. Let's see if I can get a giraffe down here. Come on, big guy. Oh. So now, an adult giraffe, their tongue is on average about 16 to 18 inches long, all right? Now that tongue is that blue, black, purple coloring because of what? What are we avoiding?
Sunburn.
Sunburn, okay? This is the true adaptation. Giraffes spend 90% of their time with their tongues hanging out of their mouths, eating from the acacia trees. In the wild, the acacia tree is their #1 food source. Those leaves are, of course, tasty, but also full of moisture. That's also where they're getting a lot of their moisture intake, not really going down to ponds as much as you might think. So this tongue comes out and it wraps around the branches of our acacia tree. Now those branches are covered in thorns. That tongue perfectly rides over those thorns, strips the leaves off the branch, brings them back into the mouth. Now once in a while they're going to pull those thorns off as well. No big deal. That's why they have those teeth to grind those thorns up, take them down without any issue. So now the neat thing about that purple tongue is that pigmentation is only for the first 6 to 8 inches. The rest of the tongue is as pink as yours and mine, all right? That's what shows you it's a true adaptation. They only changed the color of the portion that needed to be protected. Now we have guests that ask us, do giraffes bite? Heck, everything bites. Kids bite, all right? Giraffes are not going to bite you like you think, though. They actually lack teeth on the front top. They do have teeth on the bottom front. But they also have a big set of molars top and bottom. Being a ruminant, which is a multi-chambered stomach animal that consumes lots of vegetation, those molars are working back there to chew up the food the first time, but also the second time it comes up. Ruminant means that they bring up that cud to chew it for a second round of nutrition. So round 1 of nutrition goes with the intake #1, goes down to the stomach, comes back up, chew it again, second round of nutrition, goes back down. Round 3, it ends up in our yard and the zookeepers have to pick it up, all right? So now, where were we? We're talking about teeth. So yeah, of course they do have the teeth, but they're not made for biting and defense or things like that. It's simply for digesting and chewing that food. Now let's talk about this neck. Now this neck is full of vertebrae. Now you as humans have 7 vertebrae in your neck. If you know the answer, do not yell it out. I want to hear a guess from someone that does not know how many vertebrae a giraffe is going to have inside of that neck. Somebody raise their hand for a guess, or I'm going to start calling on you. I see you. Do you know how many?
I know.
Don't tell me that. All right. Hold on. Well,
She doesn't know.
you don't know? Give me a guess. We have 7 in our little tiny neck. How many is a giraffe going to have? 200's a good guess. 87. All right, very good. How many bones do you think a giraffe has in its neck? You have 7. How many do you think they have? Guess a number. Guess a number.
48.
48. Perfect number. All right. Guys, the correct answer is
7.
It's the same as a human. It's just the vertebrae are much larger. A giraffe's vertebrae is going to be about from the size of my wrist to at least my elbow, and they're very big around. Okay, so now why that huge long neck with only a few bones? Think about a chain. The more breaks in a chain, the weaker it is. All right? Now, I told you they're swinging their necks violently into one another for that necking behavior. Well, by having only 7 breaks in those vertebrae, that's a strong chain, all right? They're not going to be susceptible to injury. Now, another neat thing about that neck is also the circulatory system and what works with that to keep them alive. So our heart of our giraffes weighs about 25 pounds, all right? And that heart is pumping that blood through our animal. Now here's a giraffe, big long neck. They're up in the trees, they're down on the ground, they're swinging back and forth. If you did that, you would pass out from vertigo, right? All that blood flow. But in giraffes, they have chambers and flaps and valves in that neck that actually controls that blood flow going up and down as they move. And that's what prevents that issue from occurring.
Interesting.
Now going down a little bit further, we talked about that heart. It's a 25-pound muscle in there. Let's talk about the fur, the outer coat, the epidermis. Now our giraffes are like beautiful, unique little snowflakes. No 2 giraffes are going to be the same. Yes, offspring of a giraffe can have similar or a likeness to that of their mother, okay? But they're never going to be the same, just like zebras and other animals that have very distinct patterns. Now, a neat thing also about them is they actually produce their own bug spray. In the wild, who's out there putting bug spray on giraffes? Nobody, okay? So they actually produce an oil in their skin that is an insect repellent that helps keep the bugs off of them. Now, another neat thing about the epidermis, that outer layer of skin, it's extremely thick. You look at our adults, they're going to have little nicks and scratches and bumps. That's okay, because remember, in the wild, they're running through those acacia trees full of thorns, and they might get scrapes and bumps. No big deal. It heals very quickly if it even breaks the skin, all right? Now, going down a little bit further, we're going to talk about those legs. Now, the average giraffe, its legs from the ground to the chest are about 6 feet tall. So an average adult giraffe is 6 feet tall from the hoof to the chest. Now, those legs allow our giraffes to run anywhere from 30, 35, 40, sometimes 45 miles per hour. They cover a lot of ground very quickly with a very big stride. Now, the other thing about those legs, that is one of their defense mechanisms. Yes, they can swing that head and hit you with those ossicles if they need to, but they don't really want to put their face down in front of a lion, right? Instead, they want to use those feet, that kick. Now, those front legs will kick out to stomp, but the back legs kick just like a mule, all right? Now, that kick is strong enough to shatter or fracture the skull or jawbone of a lion, and that's strong. So if a human was to take a kick to a leg or to the chest, we would absolutely be annihilated, all right? To put it in perspective, a lion is much stronger than we are. Now, the hooves of a giraffe, on average, they're also about the size of a dinner plate. You sit down to dinner tonight, look at your dinner plate. That's how big those hooves actually are. Now, they're much like your fingernail in the sense that they're constantly growing. So now, in the wild, who goes out there and trims a giraffe's hooves? Not me, all right, I'll tell you that. So what happens is it naturally wears down on the terrain that they encounter, hence the footing that we have on exhibit here. If we put our giraffes on rich topsoil with green grass from upstate New York, what would it turn into? A mud pit, a slip and fall scare, and a spot for parasites to be, festering. Instead, we bring in a crushed run of sand and stone, which naturally wears down their hooves, much like the terrain of Africa, which is very dry, right? Very dusty, very hard. They can tell you they were just there. All right, so that naturally wears down their hooves, and it does it for us here at the park. Now, in the event their hooves are growing faster than they can be naturally maintained, you can train a giraffe to get a pedicure. All right? If we can teach April the giraffe to paint, we sure as heck can cut her hooves, right? So, what we would do is teach them to target and then hold, where they present their hoof, put it on a little pedestal, and then a trained farrier or someone like Dr. Tim would come in and use power tools and hand chisels to actually shape that hoof into a good condition. Just like a horse, if you don't maintain the feet, they become lame. And that's the worst thing that can happen to an 18-foot tall animal that weighs 2,000 plus pounds. All right, not bad. Sherry, how we doing? Not bad, okay. So let's talk a little bit about giraffe love and then what comes after that. So now, 2 giraffes, I told you, they have to fall in love. If there's 2 males together, they're going to fight for that female. Now remember, our females, they live in a group. They live in a herd, and that herd is called a?
Tower.
Okay, it's a tower. All right, good one. It's a tower. Now, males live a nomadic bachelor life, all right? They don't stay with the girls. So what happens is when the males pass by, the female's receptive, they go over, they give the old Flayman's response test, right, where they put that face right down into the backside when they go to the bathroom, get a big mouthful of urine, stick their lip up in the air, and they go, yep, that smells good, right? That's why you no longer kiss our giraffes at Animal Adventure, okay? It's no longer a safe thing for you. So anyway, that male says she's ready. That female will stand for that male. He'll court her, and then eventually he gets up enough cojones to jump on. All right? They quickly conceive. All right? Jump back off, and then we wait for a long time. Yeah. The average is 15 months. If you know April the giraffe, 16, 17, 18, 19. No. The average is 15. That means they can go 14. That means they can go 16. But the average generally is 15 months. It's also why it makes it hard to pinpoint a due date. Mind you, giraffes cycle every 17 days, right around there, all right? So now after our 15-month gestation, it's time to have a baby. Now when mom goes into labor, she does it from a standing up position, and I will never forget in 2017 when the emails would come in of great concern. Yeah. You cannot let that baby fall 6 feet to the ground. We say, we have to. Hey guys, we have to. It's designed by nature. Well, why don't you lay like the ground full of mattresses? What about like big inflatable pillows? No. Can't you just fill the whole thing with sand? I'm not cleaning that out. This is a guessing game. No way. All right? Instead, that fall is designed by nature. 3 reasons we usually say. Number 1, if the amniotic sac has not yet ruptured, that fall does it for us. Tajiri emerged from mom with the sac already ruptured. Azizi did not. Hence the labor for the second calf with April being expedited. We had all that amniotic fluid in that sac. Gravity was taking over, pulling our calf out, which is great, all right? We want that to happen. Made things go faster, all right? So if the amniotic sac hasn't ruptured, it ruptures in the fall. The next thing is the umbilical cord, all right? Carnivores, primates, they'll chew that off. Not herbivores, though, not usually, okay? That umbilical cord severs during that fall. And the last part of this is, back in the day, when a human baby was born, a doctor picked it up by its feet, held it upside down, spaked it on the bum, and the baby cried. Our ways have changed, haven't they? All right? And what does that do? That stimulates that baby to breathe. It brings that oxygen into the lungs, and that's what that fall is doing. It stimulates that calf, gets that breathing going, gets those lungs functioning, and wakes them up. You're on your own. Because Africa's not a very forgiving continent. The baby has to be up on its feet within about 45 minutes to an hour. All right? And it's running with the herd within 3 hours, all right? They have to be moving very quickly. Now our calves, when they emerge from mom, on average, they're 150 pounds, and they stand about 6 feet tall. Our last calf, Azizi, when he hit the ground, I remember we all turned to each other, and I turned to Dr. Tim, and I said, he looks really small. He goes, eh. And I looked at him again, and I go, twins? He goes, no. All right? We thought he was small, but in fact, he was bigger than Tajiri. Our last calf stood 5 feet 11 inches and weighed in, what, Sherry? 139 pounds, all right? As you guys know, they grow quite quickly. Azizi now is standing, what, 7 some odd feet tall. He's only a few months old, all right? They grow very, very quickly. All right, so, Sherry, how did we do? Good, I think we're covering a lot of ground here. Let's turn this over. Oh, natural predators. We didn't talk about that. Oh. All right, raise your hands. Give me a natural predator our giraffes are going to encounter in Africa. Go. Lions. Good one, buddy. Lions. What else?
Tigers.
No longer. All right, tigers no longer in Africa. Lions generally not in Asia anymore. All right, good guess, though. What do you think?
Alligators.
Not alligators, but they're kissing cousins.
Crocodiles.
All right, what else we got?
Hyenas.
Thank you. Hyenas. I've got, what, 1, 2 more I'm looking for.
Cheetahs.
Man.
All right, man is the other one. Cheetahs, believe it or not, fast cat, but they're designed to take down small prey. Our last one looks like a cheetah, lives in the trees.
Leopard.
Thank you. So our leopards, all right? And then there's one more. They generally don't do it unless it's very old, sick, or young. One more predator.
Jackal.
Good guess, not a jackal, a little bit bigger. Painted dogs. All right? Painted dogs, vicious, beautiful little critters, okay? They'll work together as a pack and bring down a giraffe, all right? So those are the natural predators they're going to encounter in the wild. Now, that being said, it's hot. I'm going to get you back out of the sun. We're going to turn it to a Q&A real quick. If you have some questions, go ahead and ask them. We'll try to answer them for you. Throw a hand up. I'll help you out.
Here.
Yes?
They have twins.
Do they have twins? Yes, it's happened before, all right? I have a friend with a facility, they had twins. Wow. It's a struggle, all right? Because now you've got mom developing 2 large embryos. The caloric burn to do that is a ton. It's very devastating on the mom. Generally, when you have twins in the wild, one would survive, one would not. In captive management, we take the responsibility of generally pulling one to hand rear it and allowing mom to do the other one. It's a huge drain on the mom and very much puts each of them behind the 8 ball until you get them up to appropriate size.
Now, how much do they usually weigh, you know?
The babies when born,
Yeah.
150 is our average.
They're still, even with twins?
Oh, with twins, I have no idea.
Oh, okay.
There's so few born in captive management, I'm sure you can look that up pretty easy.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Yes.
Are you going to keep them all?
Heck no! No! How many barns or how many zoos do you know with 2 giraffe barns?
You said that
All
last
right.
time.
How many do you know with 3 giraffe barns? None. All right. We're not going to be the first. All right.
You said that last time.
We like to be cutting edge, but not that cutting edge. All right. So the reality. Why are we here? Yes, you're having a fun day. Yes, you're being entertained, but hopefully you're learning something. It's the education, and hopefully that turns into conservation. All right. Now, while we try to fix the wild environments and our habits there, we need to preserve the ark. Think of us as the ark. Captive management facilities around the world move animals, offspring to one another for genetic diversity with integrity, all right? So by moving our giraffes to another facility, we add to that gene pool. Whether it's a giraffe, a hyena, paddis monkeys, we have a lot of babies around right now. They leave, they start their own family trees, genetic diversity. If we kept them here, it makes the propagation a moot point. Why are we doing it if we're not spreading the seed? Yep, good question. Yes?
Besides the 2 babies here, how many babies does April have and grandchildren?
Well, we believe it's 5 calves that we're fully aware of.
One grandchild, I think.
1 grandchild that we're aware of. There's probably more. All right, we've only can confirm, I think, placement of 2 of her offspring.
Levi.
Yeah, Levi's one of them.
Calvin is the grandchild.
Calvin's in Pennsylvania.
That's where Levi is.
Okay.
Levi and Calvin are together.
Yeah. So the Geyers down there, living treasures, we know them. Keystone Safari, that we can confirm. The other ones we really don't know.
Yeah.
So I can't give you an honest answer. I don't. Anyway, we were told 5 calves though. Yeah. Any other questions? Yes.
How's the hyena baby doing?
How's
Good?
the hyena baby doing? So if you're not aware and you don't follow our page, our spotted hyenas, Bonzi and Zuri, welcomed the cub just the other day. Now, usually we isolate Zuri. She has her cubs in the house, and it's something that we can very much see and manage. Well, this time she threw a little curveball and had her baby on exhibit in the natural rock den, which is very cool, very nice, and literally cool in there. But we've only got a little bit of a visual on the cub. It looks great. Today, tomorrow, we're going to try to isolate her, get hands on that cub, do a full checkup, and possibly pull. Okay. So, but otherwise, everything is good. Zuri has had 3 successful cubbings. Each time she's had 1 cub. If you don't know about hyenas, the cubbing process can very easily kill the cubs or the mother because of just how unique it is. If you want that story, you have to go into the R-rated theater. We'll tell you the rest of it. Very good. Any other questions?
I have one.
Sure.
Is Jerry going to stay or go?
Jerry will go. So Jerry is our baby dromedary camel that's in the nursery at this time. Quite often we'll bring in baby camels each year, whether it's Humphrey, Marco and Polo, Jerry. We've had Marty, yeah. So we'll bring them in. We get them to be great animal ambassadors. Then they move on to their next phase. Some of our baby camels are currently at like Cape May County Zoo down there. We have 2 of them down there. Yeah. Being a male, to put it in a really easy perspective, every facility only needs 1 bull.
So if it would have been a girl, it might have stayed.
Yeah, a girl. But then again, if it's related to our bull.
Right.
Now we're back to the Tajiri situation.
Right.
Can't breed with mom.
Yeah.
Only Johari. So all of a sudden that family tree starts to go like that,
So
and that's not good.
Eventually you'll get another female for Tajiri.
Well, the plan is right now we are in a holding pattern.
Okay.
All right. So with April being retired from the propagation program, she's there to continue to what she's doing, and that's being a rock star and educating and inspiring people. Let her do her thing.
Right.
She's going on her birth control. Tajiri and her will never have that interaction where we're going to jeopardize her health or have an incestuous pregnancy of anything of that nature. And then as time unfolds, let's see. Maybe these guys won't conceive. Maybe something just doesn't work with them.
Well, if they don't get it right, she'll never.
Well, one in front of the other, I know. They had it backwards. If they don't connect, they don't like each other. Chemically, it doesn't work. Then we can bring her down there when he's mature. But we're not there.
Okay.
Yeah. But we're in a holding pattern now.
He still has another couple of years.
He could probably breed now. He's just not showing the signs. He has 0 interest. So he's just he would rather get under there for the udder than the other side.
Does he still try?
He tries. They count.
How
Yep.
old is Oliver?
Oliver is now, what are we, 5, 6, 7, 8. We just sell, all of our giraffes, unless we know their birthday, age 1 year on World Giraffe Day, which is in June. Sorry, right after Father's Day. Right before Father's Day. Any other questions, guys?
I have one more.
You hit me. Go ahead.
So has Johari, has she only had one calf that you know?
One that we know of. Yep. The prior facility where she was at, she had one calf there.
Okay.
So, and she was a good mom. She raised it. Everything was good. Okay. All right. Awesome, guys. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you for being here. We appreciate it. Have fun. Stay hydrated. It's hot. And I got to go back to work.
This is your work.